Hello everyone, our next session will start very soon. Please, honorable audience, please try to sit down. Please be seated. Our next session will start very soon. Okay, ready everyone? Thank you, thank you. Okay, so now we will start our next academic session. This session would be on cultural contacts of Bengal Basin with East, West, Southeast and Southwest, Central Asia and their continued imprint in the contemporary cultural fabric of the region. Okay. In this session, our chairperson will be Professor B.T. Langsty and his speaker is In Jin Wei, sir, and our speakers will be Ritoja Mukherjee and Seushi Choudhury. First, we want to say about something about Sir In Jin Wei. Sir is a faculty member of the College of Religious Studies at Mayapur University in Thailand. Maybe I pronounced them wrong. I think so. Currently, he is editing and translating an abbreviated version of the questionnaires of the Melinda from several Southeast Asian manuscripts. Ritoja Mukherjee is not here, so I will start from Seushi Choudhury, State Aided College Teacher, Department of History, Calcutta Girls College. Okay, so I would like to hand over the mic to Professor B.T. Langsty. I'm sorry for my pronunciation, I have some problem. I think I don't know why I'm doing something wrong. I'm so sorry.
Thank you. Yeah, it's very much nervous in front of everyone. No, it's a small group. It's a small group. All right. Thank you so much. And definitely we are looking forward to hearing Dr. In Jin Wei from Thailand, who is going to speak to us on Karanji culture shared between Eastern India and the wider Asian region. Before we begin, I'm sure that we have enough time, so you can have about 15 minutes. 15 to, and then we need group. You can have, 20 minutes as well. Yes. Because we have enough time indeed. All right, sorry.
So before 15 minutes. With your permission, Charity, can I go in front and
Sure.
speak?
Sure.
Thank you. Okay. Now, second. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. It's indeed my pleasure to be here. First of all, I'd like to thank the Kolkata Society for Asian Studies for inviting me and to be able to speak in front of all the distinguished audience here. Now today I'd like to share with you a Dharani culture that's shared between Eastern India and the wider Asian region. Now yesterday we heard from Professor Shishita that the idea is transmitting. So today I want to share with you the ritual practice, a specific ritual practice that is transmitting from India to the rest of the Asian region. Now, here we talk about Dharani. So the first thing I'd like to basically if a person recite the Dharani, the kind of a mantra, either reciting it, memorizing it, copying it, or kind of like inscribe it onto stone, it will bring benefits to the doer, either in the form of protection or acquire a lot of merits. So with that merits, the doer can then ask for what he or she desires. So Dharani, in short, it consists of mantra, and certain Dharanis, they have mantra as well as the props. Now today, I'd like to share with you one specific Dharani. It is called the Bodhidharma Lankara Laksha Dharani. So, or it is commonly translated as the Dharani of 100,000 ornament of the essence of awakening. Now basically this is the summary of my presentation. You can see here this specific Dharani has circulated, especially the second half of the first millennium to the early second millennium, across not only India but across the wider Asia regions to all these trade. Now we are going to go into them one by one through this presentation, but this is just a summary. Now first of all, what is this Bodhidharma Lankara Laksha Dharani? It is one of the Dharanis found in the Dharanis Sangraha, a collection of Dharani found in a manuscript preserved in Nepal at this moment. 12th to 13th century manuscripts. Right? And the structure of this Dharani has 3 parts in this Sanskrit manuscript, also in the Chinese adaptation. But in the Tibetan tradition, they have additional 2 parts. The first part is paying homage to the Buddha and the mantra itself. The second part indicates what is the benefit of writing or worshipping this Dharani and entering it into a stupa. Right? After writing this Dharani or stamping this Dharani and put this Dharani inside the stupa, what is the benefit? What is the merit? And the third is for whose sake the Buddha actually declared this Dharani. So for the Tibetan traditions, they have another 2 more sections, which is what is the consequences of not worshipping this Dharani, and the last part is about this Dharani is part of the longer text. Now, the first section of the part 1 is paying homage to the Buddha, the Tathagata, the fully awakened one. Now, the second part of the second section of the first part is the mantra itself. Now, generally, the mantra, they do not translate it into common language. Even the Chinese version is not translated into Chinese language, but they kind of transcribe it. So they maintain the sound and then put it into the Chinese character. Similarly, in the Tibetan traditions, they transcribe it into Tibetan characters. Right? But here, I translated because it gives us some idea what this Dharani is talking about. For example, awaken means bodhi, dara, hara. So the mantra has 3 sections. From this awaken up to down here is the root mantra, the Mula mantra. And then we have the heart of the mantra, and then we have the upa, the eye. Right. So basically you can see here that it is dedicated to awakening. Now because the structure of the syntax of the Sanskrit is in a vocative feminine form, so it is postulated that this Dharani is addressed to a deity, called the personifications of Prajna Paramita. Prajna Paramita, as you know, is the perfections of wisdom, right? The Paramis. So it's directed to her. Now, the personifications of Prajna Paramita in human form is not uncommon. So you can see here, it was depicted in the Indian art as well as in Southeast Asian art. So this is the first section, first part of the Dharani. The second part of the Dharani is the interesting one. What is the merit of writing this Dharani? So the Buddha said that for those who write this Dharani and then build a stupa, and then put this Dharani inside a stupa, it is equivalent to having made a single stupa 100,000 chaitiyas in effect has been made. So basically, the merits that you worship the chaitya has multiplied by 100,000 times. Right? So it is also as if that you are performing the worshipping of the stupa with fragrance, flowers, ointments, flags, and banners. Because worshipping a stupas with these items are considered meritorious. In another text is equivalent to 100 pieces of gold and things like that. So therefore, not only that, the three jewels, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha will also be worshipped. So basically, in the sense that if you use this specific dharani, whatever merits that you wanted to acquire, you get it by 100,000 times. Isn't it? Cost effective, right? Do it one time, 100,000 times. That's why you can see here, in the ritual practice, there's a lot of these miniature stupas are being created. And then you can see here the ceiling inside the stupas. That is the meaning of this. Now this particular ceiling is not a Bodhisattva, but I'll just give you an example. So you can see here in the stupa side, there are many stupas. Of course, building a stupa is too expensive and only for certain individuals. But lay devotees can then sponsor for the making of these stupas and entering. So this is a ritual process. So the third part is about for whose sake this dharani is being made. So for those who lack of merits, basically even as a normal person, merits is like a bank. It's not every time I withdraw, you go to the ATM card, I withdraw money, I withdraw my merits. But one day you will run out, but I do not know what is the balance in my meritorious bank, right? So somehow or other, I still need to top it up once in a while. So it is an avenue to make merits. So the ideology of making merits. So I want you to remember that this is an idea that for whoever wanted to acquire merits, either for protection or a safe journey in the sea, or to have children, so they will opt for this. This is one of the options that the devotees can have. Alright, so now we go into today's context workshop, the transmissions of this dharani. Right? So where does this dharani? The first question we ask ourselves is, where does this dharani come from? So we do not know where it was first written down or where it was composed. Right? But we know that perhaps the basic assumption that the original language is Sanskrit, therefore it has an Indian provenance. It comes from India. So that in India, it is widely found in the eastern Gangetic plain as well as in Odisha. Either it is stamped on ceilings or terracotta ceilings, or it is found inscribed on stone slabs. Right? So let's look at Odisha. In Odisha, we have this Kathak stone slab which is famous. We do not know where it comes from, but it happens to be a Kathak museum, so everybody calls it the Kathak stone slab. But now this stone slab has moved into the new capital museum in Odisha. So you can see here the dharani was inscribed on stones. So in Udayagiri too, different sites. In Kathiawara, it is also inscribed on stones. Now in the Ratnagiri, different stupa sites, they are found in numerous copies stamped on terracotta ceilings. Right? You can see here, there are different shapes and different sizes. Right? So give us an idea that the ritual of stamping a dharani is being practiced there. Now how about the Eastern Gangetic Plains? Eastern Gangetic Plains, one is known as Shravati by Alexander Cunningham. And he said that it was first entered as a miniature stupa, but then it dropped off during the excavation process. And then two in Nalanda, in different sites. And also there are 15 to 16 of them were found in this stretch region. Professor Cunningham didn't actually specify which region, right? But then it is found here. So, but these ceilings are being kept in the national, in the library, in the museum, the British Museum as well as the Australian Museum. Now, of course, we ask this question since we are in Bengal. So, what about the Bengal regions? So, at this moment, it's still work in progress. So, if any one of you come to know that there are ceilings which need further investigation or to be read, please let me know. I'll be happy to examine them. So far, we have not come across with the published data in English, but maybe in local language about this dharani. However, in Bangladesh, today's Bangladesh, in Myanmar, there are countless countless tablets and sealings and images give us to be found there. But at this moment, we do not know the reading of this. So for example, this one. We can't read because the photo that we have in the book published, we cannot read it very clearly. So it is quite desirable to visit there and then start documenting these things. Not only in the eastern India, in central India, in Madhya Pradesh, there are also sealings discovered in Chhattisgarh. However, you can see here that it is much rated. You really cannot read it. Right? Even though we cannot read this, but it tells us that the ritual of stamping a dharani on tablets is being practiced in central India. So this gives us the idea of where the dharani is being circulated. Now moving on north, a little bit of this Gangetic thing is Nepal. So earlier we talked about the manuscript, right? So the manuscript actually features the characteristics of Eastern India and Nepalese manuscript. So it shows certain kind of interactions between Eastern India and Nepalese manuscripts. Now moving on further up is the Tibetan plateau. Now in Tibet, the dharani has been transcribed into Tibetan characters. For the mantra, it's transcribed. For the cross, it is translated. Right? So it is now preserved in various Tibetan kingdoms, Turkey, as well as Russia. And we do not know when is it translated, but then it appeared in the 9th century catalogs that this dharani's name was appeared. So we know that at least from the first quarter of 9th century, it was already circulated in Tibetan. Then we move on to the northwest, right? So northwest include Pakistan, previously the Gandhara region. There are sealings. These are the 3 sealings found to carry this Bodhidharma Dharana. So it has been published in 1997. So dated to within 7th to 8th century. There's also a fragment of a metal seal carrying this dharani being found in these Khyber Pakhtunkhwa regions. Right? So it's dated to the 6th century Sarada scripts. Now moving northwest further, in the north of Pakistan, there are 2 stamps, these 2 stamps, metal stamps, that bear this Bodhidharma Lankaran. So the script is Gupta Brahmi and Proto-Sarada scripts. So the author, Igoskrop, has actually suggested that it could be approximately 6 to the beginning of the 7th century based on the scripts. So you have 2 manuscripts. Now one of them is preserved in the British Museum, and the other one is in the private collection. Then from here you move to Central Asia, and from Central Asia you move into the Tarim Basin. Right? So perhaps trekking along the Taramatan Desert, one fragment of this Bodhidharma Dharani in Yugal scripts was found in Profan Oasis. So you can see here merchants on the road, and then we found them. There could be more, but it is just a fragment. The other part was lost. Then moving down further from Tongfan to Tongwang, so southeast of the Silk Road, basically. You can see here these are the caves that preserve manuscripts. Right. So here we found the Tibetan manuscripts that bear the Bodhidharma Lankaran. So in PD 350 and PD 555. So PD 555 is a longer version. Right. This is where the Buddha said that the Buddha recited this dharani after the merchant go to him and said that he wanted a son or a child, and the Buddha taught him this dharani to acquire enough merits to have a child. Right. So these manuscripts are now preserved in Europe. So it was dated to around 8th to 9th century. So we do not know whether it is translated in Tongwang itself or was brought from the Tibetan. Then moving again southwest through the Hazy corridor, the dharani reached Chang'an. Chang'an is the old capital of many Chinese dynasty. So it was translated by Shikshak-nanda. Right? So around the 7th centuries. beginning of the 7th centuries. So because now they are preserved, transcribed into the Chinese called the Century Chronology. Right? So again, when you say this is the cross, they will translate it. But then the Dharani itself, they kept the sound of it. Okay? Now because even though it is the same person that transcribed the same Dharani, but what is preserved in the Taisho printed edition, they are so different. Right? So different that the author of Taisho actually kept 2 versions. So by the same author, same Dharani, but 2 versions. So one version is based on the Korean Tripitaka, the Kauri Tripitaka, and one version is based on the Ming Dynasty Tripitaka. You can see the fluidity of text, right? I shall not go into that. So above Chang'an, in Inner Mongolia, in Hexi, there is this Dharani preserved in the block prints. Now before I talk about this, so when the Chinese, when the Buddhism came to China, so the Chinese are collecting this. So the Chinese initially are copying the text from one copy. So that copying take a long time. So later they found a way to make it faster. They do it block print. So they do it block print. So once they have block print, then the text can multiply in many copies, and then these copies can then circulate to a wider region. So you can see here, this is one of the block print technology used during the time to disseminate text. Right? So you can see here, these are the 6 lines of this Bodhigarbha Lakara Dashadharani. And then below are any steeples. Okay? One steeple is equivalent to 100,000 steeples. Right? So you can see here, even in Inner Mongolia, there is this Dharani being practiced. So basically, is that. So with that Chinese canon, so it also Chinese canon, during the Song dynasty when they started to do block print, they call it the version Kai Bao Zhang. So this Kai Bao Zhang actually, the Song dynasty edition actually reached Korea. Right? So Korea then the Dharani reached them. And then even in around the 13th century, the Royal Court of Korea actually also commissioned this Dharani to be written down in they call it the golden manuscripts. Right? So these characters are written in gold. So you can see here that not only it is one of the texts in this huge volume of Chinese Pitaka, but it is also getting attention from the Royal Court itself. Then how about Japan? Right, further east, Japan. Japan around the 9th century Hukai went to Tang at court for a short period of time. And then he brought back 42 texts, right? Or Sanskrit texts in Siddhartha scripts. And then he also copied certain texts in Siddhartha scripts. So in these 2 versions of set of texts, the Bodhidharma also. So basically, it's kind of a, what would say, popular text in the sense that for him to copy out of so many texts. Then we go into Southeast Asia. So we talk about East Asia, from Central Asia up to the very far east, which is Japan. Now how about Southeast Asia? The southeast of India Peninsula. So the Dharani found itself into Perlis, the Malay Peninsula, as well as Central Java. So you can see here in Central Java, in this Changi, Laos block, next to Borobudur, you have a gold foil describing Siddhartha scripts of this Dharani, in this Changi, a very old Changi. Right? So dated to the mid-9th centuries. Now, how about in Thai Peninsula? So in the cave of Perlis, not far from my home is here. Not far from my home, there's this Dharani. So you can see this tablets. Again, stand multiple copies of them. A lot of copies of them. Stand with this Bodhidharma. And interestingly, if you study the structure of this Dharani, the textual tradition is not exactly identical. Right? There are certain differences there. And then the uniqueness of it. Right? So, and then it is near Bujang Valley. So what does it tell us? Okay, I will skip this. What does it tell us? I'm going to summarize my talk. Here that the practice of ritual practice is something that is common and is shared. So everybody, I think most people in different part of regions also want to acquire merits. So they are looking for means or ways to acquire merits, either for good luck, prosperity in their business, safety in the sea, insurance, do well in an exam. Not only previously, I think even today, we are also looking for ways to make merits. Right? So, and you can see here, you travel through the ancient Silk Roads. Right? You see ancient Silk Road now, because now we have modern Silk Road. Right? So, either from land or from maritime Silk Road, like this Dharani actually translated. And you can see here, secondly, is Tarapada, and here I'm sure this Dakshinapata we will have. So, it will still work in progress. If you come to know any tablets that which you think will require further reading, please let me know. I will be happy to investigate this for you. Alright then, so I will end my presentation here. If you have any questions, I will be happy to answer your questions. Hope I don't take questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Jin. You were right on time, and thank you for a wonderful presentation. It's really a privilege for us to learn a little bit more about this culture, particularly about the tradition in Buddhist text. So I leave the house open for discussion. If there are any questions, please.
Yes, please.
So the Dharani is found throughout the archaeological sites. Are there any changes in the components? Especially I am talking about, there are three parts as you have mentioned. The obeisance to the Buddha, merit of writing this Dharani, and for who said Buddha declared this Dharani.
Yeah.
So when the Dharani found in, suppose, in Thailand, and if I compare that with Mainamoti and then to the found in Afghanistan. So what are the component changes, especially if the first part, obeisance to Buddha, are there any changes in obeisance, paying obeisance to the Buddha in the style of Thailand and in the style of Afghanistan, for example?
Okay, good questions. Actually, I have a table for this, but it's too. Okay. Most of the, sorry, I will take it. The paying homage to the Buddha is generally the same standard. So one of the keywords is Vipula Vadana, which we try to translate into more. So that is a kind of specific feature. So it doesn't change much. Now what we change here is here. For example, some Dharani, some sections, for example in Malaysia, it reached up to here, half of this.
Oh.
Without this, without the second part, without the part 2 and part 3. Most of the ceilings only have these three parts. And then after that, you follow by the Ye Dharma stanza.
Okay.
Then only the stone slabs.
So it's sacrosanct.
Stone slabs only have part 2 and part 3.
Okay.
And then the manuscript have part 2 and part 3. And then of course the Tibetan printed text, part 4 and part 5.
So according to geographical variation, the context changes.
The context changes, the syntax also has slightly changes.
Syntax, of course.
Sometimes some of the places have milli, some places don't have this milli. So it changes. So the kind of a local adaptation there. So it, basically the seal does not come from the same shop.
Now, then the last question.
Yeah.
So the third part is for those say Buddha declared this Dharani. The people, here we are talking about the people for who say Buddha has declared this Dharani.
Okay.
So in when people, various amount people are involved in this Dharani, in various geography. So what will be the style of Dharani if say like that? What is the style? The style changes in style.
The changes because most of the people, the donors, or people who want to acquire merits, most of them do not know the Sanskrit and the wording is still so small. So it is not meant basically to be read or to be recited. Basically, it's meant to acquire merits. Basically, just like today, I say, okay, I want to acquire merits. What's the ritual? Okay, if you stamp this, you will get some merits. So then people will just maybe do some donations, and the priest will then help them to stamp. Or in Thailand, you can also stamp the multi-tablet yourself. So that is for purpose of acquiring patents.
What is the earliest date of this? Where do we have the earliest form of this kind of figure?
For this particular diagram.
Yeah.
So there are two, based on the more scientific, more systematic analysis, is this one. So here, even though they say 6th century, but they just paleographic observation estimating. But Ingolstroth has actually come up with this analysis in his paper, showing that this is between based on this paleographic analysis to be around late 6th to 7th century. So this will be the time period. So we found that between the second half of the first millennium, it is quite popular during that time. The 8th, 9th, 10th centuries or 11th centuries. Even though the Malaysian one is dated to around 10th centuries.
Sir, there has been a parity of the widespread of Indian epics like Mahabharata and Ramayana throughout Southeast Asian context.
Yeah.
So they have been up to Philippines as well. And eventually it's widespread in that direction in case of Ramayana and Mahabharata. So they have their local version and context. So in the context of Dharani, has it not been there in Philippines? Because it has been excluded in your presentation. That is what I intend to ask.
Okay. Yes, we are very happy if you found something. So far, we do not have any published record yet of this Dharani found in the Philippines. So far, we cannot. But I believe they do have, even in the Borneo itself. Even in the Borneo itself, even the central inside the Borneo, inside there's a huge show slab with all these tupas like inscriptions. But you have to go through the jungle. So I'm sure some of this may have. I don't know. There's no published data yet. Any other questions? Yes, sorry.
Sir, this is a new topic to be completely a new topic to me. So I just wanted to ask that exactly what is Dharani? Is it the mantra or the seeing? I got a little bit confused there.
Dharani, she asked what is exactly Dharani. Dharani is kind of like a specific code that has the power to allow a person to generate merits or protective effects. It's just a type. So these are.
She must have missed the introduction. Sir had mentioned it at the start. What is the purpose of this Dharani? That is the text, and it's meant for beneficial purpose in what he has displayed in the scripted text-aided type of prayer. Thank you. All right. Thank you so much. I think I don't see anybody else wanting to ask, and it would be nice if we can continue our discussion in a break later on.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your enlightening
Thank
presentation. We move on to the next speaker, and we have here with us Rita Ja Mukherjee. She's a research analyst in a multinational company, and she wants to,
As a comparative literature student, I have worked with popular culture, and nautical popular culture is a part of our everyday lives. Naturally, that has its light on literature and the way we lived, our collective memories and our lived experiences. Oral tradition is even full of things that we do not really recognize in everyday life, but it's there in practice, it's there in memory. So here I strive to highlight the genre of nautical fiction that is there in the West and show how it is present in Bengali literature. It is there in Bangla Sahitya, but the definition is not the textbook definition of the West. We have our own kind of going around things. This is just my way of tracing through different nautical fictions present in our literary course. There can be many more scopes of research. So I will start with the definition of am I audible? Definition of nautical fiction. That is my next slide. The exact definition on Wikipedia somewhat goes like this. That is basically, nautical fiction is marked as the narrative course of a sailor who embarks upon a voyage. During the voyage, he is tested by the sea, by his colleagues, and many other incidents that occur to him. And then he encounters upon another shore, and then the experience either makes him or breaks him. It is there in the epic, be it Odysseus or be it traveling to Troy for a battle. Their landscape is full of sea, where our networking is more with the river. So that is why our course is different from them, not only geographically but also by culture and the way they live here. So this being the exact definition of nautical fiction, I could not show the audacity of coming up with a single definition of nautical fiction here in Bangla Sahitya, but I tried to trace it with the way we view it. So the elements of nautical fiction of Bengal, I found, is basically in a structure of landscape, nature, pirates and such activities, and space as a space of escape, the presence of nautical fiction in the popular culture, and the different kind of nautical activities that does not come directly under written literature. So I have tried to view the theme as a canopy on Bengali Sahitya. So I will start with landscape. Somehow the entire slide is not visible, but I try to speak about landscape here because while dealing with nautical literatures found in Bengal, we see that major literary works like Tungabhadra Tire by Sharadindu Bandyopadhyay or Tumi Shandharmik or our very own Mongol Kavyas, they have a very distinct nautical journey that focuses from a view of the shore from the water body. So even here we have a part of the slide that is a Pavachitra of Behula's journey with Lokinga's body. We see the depiction of the shore in the minute details. It is as if the person who is taking the journey, the aquatic journey, is leaving the shore. Not only this, when it comes to Bankim Chandra or Sharadindu Bandyopadhyay, we see that while taking the journey, the view of the shore is often described in a very intricate detail. Not only this, the rivers are often shown, we are not putting the rivers in a place of an inanimate object. We view the rivers as living, breathing bodies. That is why we have Nod and Nodi, Damodar Nod, Ganga Nodi. We show the change of modes with the rivers as if they are human beings with human feelings. So while going through any of the nautical journeys in our literatures, canonical literatures like the Mongol Kavyas, or be it Devi Chodhanari, be it Tumi Shandharmik or Tungabhadra Tire, the view of the shore is in specific details. The geographical changes goes on with the geographical change of the shore, the landscape of Bengal, is a very intricate portrayal from the view of the aquatic journey. That brings me to the next and my favorite part of nautical fiction when it comes to Bengali literature. That is nature. The use of nature is very specific and is it's a very crucial literary tool that our authors used. Be it Tagore in Broncodubi, be it Bankim Chandra in Kapal Kundala or Devi Chodhanari, and specifically be it Sharadindu Bandyopadhyay in Tungabhadra Tire. There is a lot that we can explore into. I'll try to limit myself to my favorite texts. So I will try to see the use of nature, specifically the idea of storms. Storms are used in a way that changes the plot line, that gives a different view to the entire story. It serves as the what you see, the seed that changes the entire inevitable that was about to happen. Suppose in Tungabhadra Tire, the princesses of Kalinga are taking a journey to get married and they do not know if they will come back or not. They do not know what will happen to them, how the husband is going to be, how the new place and culture is going to be. One of the princesses who is very open, Moni Konkona, she is very happy. On the other hand, the elder princess, Vindumana, she is not happy. She is worried. So she is worried of the inevitable that is going to happen when she reaches the shore. And then hits the storm. The storm changes the course of the entire journey. The storm changes the way the inevitable was not going to be fair to the aquatic journey, the pothik rather. Pothik will not be a right term, rather the person who is sailing through is her life to reach what was waiting for her. So it is coming, the storm is basically coming as a relief in many places. The storm is keeping the person away from the inevitable of the shore. So this is one of the points that make the storm or the nature used as a very skillful narrative tool in Bengali Sahitya. Other than this comes the pirates of Bengal. Pirates of Bengal have a major role. Be it Alawal being kidnapped and sent to the Arakans, that brings the idea of Moger Muluk and such things in our literary popular life, our culture. The pirates are still a very major problem that we overlook, because a major part of the delta, that is the Sundarban Delta, is still going through massive issues with pirate attacks, and the seas, the river network there is not really as protected as we think it should have been. So business life is uprooted and affected. It's shown in the Portuguese pirates era and even till date. Pirates are a major part of the problem of the river networks, and it is there in literature, and it continues to have its effects in the modern life, even in Sundarban. So pirates of Bengal can be a topic of research while dealing with nautical fictions of Bengal. That brings me next to a space of escape that is created, that is there in space of escape in many of our works. That is Devi Chaudhurani or Srikanto on his voyage, or be it Tungabhadra Tire again. As if a space of escape is created for the people who are escaping the life on the shore. A space of escape from Srikanto is probably, he is a wanderer, he wants to get away from Rajlokhi. He goes on this voyage. He takes this voyage. The voyage is a space of escape. The traveling to the aquatic body is a space of escape created for the protagonist. Not only this, this idea of space of escape is shown in Devi Chaudhurani as well. The society turns you away. The shore is the presentation of the society here that turns you away. You find a refuge, you create your world on a moving body on the rivers, or you take a sea voyage that creates a space of escape. Not only this, I would like to mention the texts like Sea of Poppies by Amitav Ghosh as well when it comes to creating or highlighting the space of escape in Bangla Sahitya. Other than this, I feel that the presence of nautical tenets, or rather elements, in our popular culture is immense. We do not realize that oral history and popular culture also is a part of literature and how literature is made. So be it the common spaces that make a part of our everyday lives, like Ultodanga. How is Ultodanga named Ultodanga? There is a concept that it is not a land overturned. Ultodanga is basically coming from the word Ultodini, maybe a large boat. It's a very common place in Kolkata, and maybe a large boat overturned in Ultodanga at some point. That gave rise to the idea of Ultodanga that we have today. So we travel through the space so many times, not knowing that this kind of an incident happened here. But the oral tradition keeps this history intact. Not only this, the Bagh Bazar Ghat that we know as Mair Ghat now, other than the fact that Sri Sharada Ma had a lot to do with this place, There is a lighthouse on the Ghat that is basically present in many texts. That is basically built by the British government at a point, the company rather, because they were worried that Nawab Siraj-Dowlah could have attacked Kolkata through the sea route, the river route. So that lighthouse is present in many literatures or passing stories. We do not notice the descriptions of many places. Like if we are reading a novel, we are more concentrated on the protagonist, but the descriptions often hide a lot of culture and history that is equally important as the story. So the Bagbazaar Ghat, be it the different ghats of Kolkata, that was once a huge, rich cultural heritage of trade that happened in Bengal, that made the economy of Bengal one of the raging ones in India. That was one of the times that things that get highlighted in many literary texts of history and literature. Other than this, we also have the different nautical activities that make the literature and culture of Bangla Sahitya richer. One of that is Bhatiyari Shongit, Shari Gan, that is there about a sailor's life that gets dependent upon its occupation, that is based on the water body, and the journey of the sailor, and if he is going to return to the shore, or the fact that he has to live away from the family. It is going with nature once again. The Bhatiyari songs have a very important space for the wind that is moving and the water, and that is the background music provided to Bhatiyari song basically. The words also depict how the heart is wrenching for the shore, and often Bhatiyari songs are there present from the shore as well for the sailor. So that kind of elements are found in Bhatiyari song, and studying of the lyrics of Bhatiyari song is also a very important part of nautical history present in the Bengal culture. Not only this, we still have live activities like Boich Khala or a boat race that is organized all over Bengal, rural Bengal. We tend to bring Bengal to our urban spaces and confine it there. But Bengal lies much beyond this conference hall in the rural areas, probably a little more there. So when I'm speaking about this activity, Boich Khala, if we just go around asking people, do you know about boat races in India? We will immediately go to South India, the practice is there and that is more popular. But we do not know our very own Bengal have Boich Khala, and that is actively happening in Bangladesh right now, and also in spaces of Nodia where Ganga is really wide. And during this particular time of Monasha Puja, this boat race happens as a sign of fertility. And these boat races are organized now by the government, and it dates back to the Nawabs of Bengal organizing elaborate boat races during these places in these regions. And it is very important that we keep in mind that nautical culture is a living culture, and it is very much different from the Western culture. I feel that there is a lot more that could be covered and a lot more that is still left unsaid, but there is a huge space of research if we think that Bengali Sahitya has a part for nautical fiction, and it can be a canopy theme. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that beautiful insight into the literary text that is there in Bengali literature, talking about the nautical fictions. And thank you for the speaker for giving us these different sub-themes of your talk on nature, on landscape, on the pirates, as well as the other escape routes, that the space for escape, as you said. So in life and in the works of many others, we'd like to open this particular session for if there are any questions to the speaker, Ritaja Mukherjee. Are there any? Yes.
So my question is, when you have talked about the nautical journey through the literary perspective, if I recall, there are two great literary works of our Bengali literature. One is Padma Nadir Maji and another is Tita Shakti Nadir. So, first to the Padma Nadir Maji, there is a course of salvation, there is a course of imagination. The Moinadir will be the point of salvation for the downtrodden, just as mentioned by the author in the course of the literature. And when it comes to Tita Shakti Nadir Nam, the entire journey of the Advaita Mallobargon, what Advaita Mallobargon tries to convey, the entire journey of the population at the banks of the Titas river. The main thing is their imaginary about their daily life, the thing they want to achieve, what they imagine they want to achieve. Now, your presentation talked about nautical journey. Can the imaginations and the imageries of the daily life of people which the author have ascribed into his literature, can it be termed as nautical imagination?
Absolutely, sir. It can be termed as nautical imagination in the way you are trying to portray it. Absolutely, these two texts, Tita Shakti Nadir Nam and Padma Nadir Maji, should also be roped into under the canopy of nautical literature. If we do not stick to fiction, we should stick to literature. There is a very beautiful word in Urdu, I guess, that is Khush Fehmi. So Khush Fehmi is more about illusions. So illusions go very close with imagination. And while studying comparative literature, imagination is a very important part of our literary learning. So if we are going to talk about these two texts, this can obviously come under nautical literature. We call it nautical literature is basically imagination. Someone's imagination from the shore, someone's imagination from the aquatic body. So naturally these two texts are definitely a part of what I was trying to say and is definitely coming. Maybe I have been a little partial to my favorite texts. That can be the case.
Just a small comment while you are talking about various dimensions. One very important dimension is whether you take it in the cosmological or the spiritual dimension of the river, especially the death rituals, because all life cycle rituals are also connected to the river. And the ultimate, the merchants with the river becoming one with it spiritually, after when you float the ashes into the river. And these are also there in all literature and everywhere. And the escape, yes, there are so many instances. Karunamoi escaping on the boat with her boyfriend, then Obhaya going to her, and any number. So I think that you have got a very good, because I think the river is a liminal space.
Yes.
Because it is kind of where probably all that constrains you on even that one where, I forget the name, or within that was where the girl jumps into the water from the funeral pyre when she is being made into a sati and she escapes. I forget the name. Even also Nauka to be, Nauka to be is. So I think you should build more on this. I think you have chosen a very good theme.
Ma'am, I would like to have two comments on that. First of all, thing is that spirituality is a very much living process of our collective experience, lived experiences. Sufi, other than the fact that all our Hindu, Sanatani rituals or any other cultures that we thrive here is dependent on the river, the water body. And I will come to that later, how our nautical fiction is very different from theirs. First of all, there are Sufi songs that are very popular right now. Like we are hearing it because of the recreation, reimagining. Dede pal tulle de Radha Krishna, chede de noka ami jabo Modina. So you cannot reach Modina through our rivers. It is the spiritual journey that is so that is there. And the second thing that I felt that is coming through your words as well, and I felt why I started with this paper is, there is a concept when I'm presenting or writing for like places other than our country. No offense, but the West kind of tends to solidify definitions, and they kind of make it they put a stamp on genres and ideas, like they define nautical fiction for this, I'm saying. But that is a little disturbing. Because then I felt that, okay, we had all of these here in our own way. So we read our literatures, and nautical art is a part of everything. We all know, I have said nothing new. All of these things you all know if you have dealt with a little bit of Bengali literature. So why not we look into our, we take a introspective view of our cultures here.
And I think that the most critical difference between the West and us is the spiritual part.
Yes, absolutely.
Because to them the river is only a resource, and to us the river is much more than
Much
that.
more than that.
One intuitive observation I would like to put up. The thing is that you said that nature is a topic very close to your heart in the context of the subject. There you should also try to include the Bedir Pala, the Bedir Gang, the hunters.
Yes.
Okay. The Bedir Pala, the Bedir Gang, like Hande Puriya Bhag Boga Kandiri, it's a very old folk song, popular one, and other aspects are over there. How the flora, the fauna is associated with the agricultural activities and life of the professional people who are residing in the Bengal area, and how species is like the turtle or the tortoise. Now, if we consider that part of Bengal in the Indian context, we consume turtles at very distant remote places. But in Bangladesh, due to religious perspective, it's a ban. And after people from the remote and the marginalized community, they do have that thing as a resource of the daily consumption. So these things might be putting up on the idea of conservation of the animals as well. Now we do have a sustainable background for this, that how we will be consuming them and not indiscriminately hunting them, such that the retaliation is not on the part that it is totally going on the verge of extinction. It should be conserved as well. So these things might be included as a part of tangible, intangible cultural heritage, as well as the concerns of the nature and well-being of the environment as well.
Thank you so much. That was really helpful. It can take the research forward.
Yes, bycatch and conservation of the species rivers.
Absolutely. That is actually a difference between how we look at nature for sustainability and how they look at nature for like exploitation. Because if you are going to disturb our economical balance, our ecological balance, that is when the idea of extinction will come to our place. Other than that, we are interdependent on nature. We will be indigenous communities of any part of the world will not hunt or gather in a way that will affect the nature.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. It was such a beautiful presentation, Ritajan. Now I call upon the next speaker. This is Dr. Shriyashi Chaudhary. She's a teacher from Calcutta Girls College, and she'll be speaking to us about the shy coconut palm, a cross-cultural understanding and its imprint on the eco-cultural landscape of Bengal and Southeast Asia. So coming from a botany, Department of Botany, Vivekananda College.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Chairperson, and all the other members of the audience. The topic of my presentation is the shy coconut palm. I would like to look at this invaluable tree as through a cross-cultural perspective. So I'll just try to introduce, give a brief background. It is a tree which is botanically named as Cocos lucifera. This plant species was named by Carl Linnaeus, and which lists every plant species known to the Europeans at the time and is considered as the starting point of bionomial nomenclature. It is, the tree belongs to the palm family. The generic name is the Latinized 16th century Portuguese word
which is coco, meaning head or skull. And in 1521, when the Spanish and Portuguese explorers first encountered the Pacific Islanders, the coconut shell with its face like 3 indentations were reminiscent of a ghost in Portuguese folklore called coco. The specific epithet lucifera, it comes from 2 words, nuts, which is nut, and fera, which is berry. So it's translated as nut berry. So the term coconut, it refers to the whole tree and also its fruit and the seed. And it can grow up to 30 meters in height, and the leaves, they form a crown at the top and a large compound feather-like. So these are the flowers. We can see these are the, on the left side, these are the male flowers, and on the right there are female flowers. The one-seeded fibrous fruit is a drupe, it is not a nut. The epicarp is the glossy skin, green to brown in color. The mesocarp is the fibrous coil, forming the husk along with the exocarp. And the endocarp is the hard shell with 3 germination pores. Actually, it resembles like the eyes. The immature fruit is called the green coconut, and the mature ones are called the brown coconut. The single seed inside has a thin seed coat, initially a liquid endosperm that finally turns into a solid endosperm, that is the coconut meat, and a small embryo under a core. The dried flesh is called the copra. This is a tropical plant. It is found in the belt between latitude of 23° north and south, and is typifying the vegetation along the coastline. The fiber cushion fruits enclosing a water-filled seed is designed to survive the perilous fall from the tree to the ground, and is also buoyant and water resistant enough for transoceanic voyages along with marine currents, thus making it mostly naturally widespread fruit plant on Earth. They are amphibious invaders and can colonize inland habitats only with anthropogenic support. We usually find them along the coastlines, but it's like in the inland also, it is with the plantation. From its original home in Southeast Asia, the cultivated coconut has spread to the Pacific Islands along with the prehistoric expansion of Australasian cultures, when the coconut played a critical role in this human migration and settlement as a portable source of food and water during the long sea voyages. Later, another genetically distinct population of domesticated coconut originating in southern India reached Africa and Americas during the historical times. This pan-tropical plantation plant not only provides food security but also supports the livelihoods of more than 11 million farmers across the globe. It is a very important part of our country. It contributes to the GDP and also Asia-Pacific countries, and it is a source of edible products, mainly oil, non-edible products, especially raw material for multifarious agro-industries. The meat of the coconut is called copra. It's either dried, browned or pressed for oil, and the fiber called coir is spun into cordage or used for making packaging, bedding, flooring. Although the coconut finds its greatest commercial use in the industrialized West, in its native range across the ecological landscapes of Asia-Pacific region, it has penetrated into the lingual, cultural, social and spiritual matrix of autochthonous people. It is no wonder that this reticent palm is revered affectionately monikers by the locals with eulogistic epithets such as consorts of the East, tree of life, tree of abundance, tree of plenty. So there is a proverb from Philippines. They say that if you could count the stars, then you could count all the ways the coconut tree serves us. Then the Indonesians say that the coconuts have as many uses as there are days in a year. And in India, I mean, it has multifarious use. I can go on and on. It is been imagined as Kalpavriksha, the wish-fulfilling tree of classical mythology. So on 2nd September, we celebrate the World Coconut Day, and it commemorates the formation of Asian Pacific Coconut Community and aims to raise awareness about the importance of coconuts and their multifarious contributions to life. So strategically poised in the extreme east of South Asia, Bengal had not only ancient land connection with Southeast Asia through the northeast, but also sea links across Bay of Bengal interaction sphere. Bengal not only served as an intermediary in trade and commerce, but it also played an important role in continuous economic and cultural interchange that took place with Southeast Asia. So this humble fruit, so that's why as I used in my title, the shy coconut palm, because we use it in every day, but unfortunately we tend to ignore it a little bit. So that's why I use the term shy. So it is not just a source of sustenance, but also a symbol of identity and holds a special place in the culture of both Bengal and Southeast Asia. So the objective of our paper is to explore the imprint of coconut on eco-cultural landscape of Bengal and Southeast Asia through a biocultural approach and to look at its cross-cultural significance by encompasses the historical, scientific and social dimension. So this is the favorite part where I can draw cross-cultural exchanges in cuisine of Bengal and Southeast Asia. So as we know that the coconut milk, it has a very rich creamy texture, its unique flavor is integral role in region's cultural fabric and plays a pivotal role in shaping the region's culinary heritage, especially South India, Sri Lanka, Thailand, where it is popularly used in kitchens to thicken soups, stews. Coconut milk also holds cultural significance in Southeast Asian countries, where it is revered as a symbol of abundance and fertility that embodies the region's tropical abundance and its staple in festive and ceremonial dishes. Throughout Southeast Asia, coconut milk has been utilized in a myriad of culinary applications ranging from savory to sweet dishes, showcasing its versatility as a fundamental ingredient in creating iconic flavors that define the gastronomic landscape of Southeast Asia. So in Thailand, a very popular dish is the masaman curry and the yellow-green curry, where the main component is the coconut milk. Its creamy texture and subtle sweetness complement the complex blend of spices, herb, meat and vegetable, resulting in a harmonious balance of flavors that tantalize the taste bud. In Indonesia, for example, coconut milk plays a pivotal role in rendang, a celebrated dish that features tender, slow-cooked meat that is flavored by simmering luscious coconut milk and spice mixture. The coconut milk does not only tenderizes the meat, but also imparts a luxurious creaminess to the dish. In Philippines, for example, it is used in desserts. Coconut milk is used in desserts in a popular dish called binatang, a sweet stew made of medley of fruits, root crops, glutinous rice ball cooked in coconut milk and palm sugar. This indulgent treat showcases the sweet and velvety characteristic of coconut milk. Across the region, it is used as a savory soups, aromatic rice dishes, beverages, and it is used both in traditional as well as contemporary recipes. So like constant contact with the outside world and the continuous exchange of ideas often led to culinary innovation. During the Ayutthaya court period, Maria Gomar Dipina, a woman of Japanese, Portuguese, Bengali heritage, served in the royal palace as a cook after being taken prisoner by King Petrancha. Later renamed as Thao Tong Kip Ma, she became the head chef of the royal kitchen and is ultimately credited with introducing Portuguese-inflected dishes such as sangkaya or coconut custard to the world. In Bengali cuisine, the name prawn malai curry is conventionally considered to with creamy texture of the dish, which is due to the presence of the coconut milk. The words malai and curry directly translate to cream curry. However, there is a lot of controversy with regard to the theory, and that assumption of the word malai probably denotes coconut cream rather than usually clotted cream as a dairy product. The prefix malai is rooted in the geographical name, probably Malaya, that is Peninsular Malaysia, and thus malai curry literally means Malaysian curry. There is substantial amount of historical evidence as well as similar dishes in Malaysian cuisine that possibly indicate that chingri or prawn malai curry was influenced by the land and the people of Malaya. First, there are two Malaysian dishes that seem to be predecessors and foreign cousins of Bengal's much loved chingri malai curry, the Chin malai curry udang, which is a coconut prawn curry, and laksa, which is a spicy coconut soup. Then there is significant historical record that indicates along the spice route, traders and sailors from Malaysia and Southeast Asia traveled to this part of the subcontinent going back to 8th to 12th centuries during the days of Pala dynasty and going up to the Chondra dynasty. Malay merchants played an essential and significant role since ancient times to the early modern history of trade and commerce between South and Southeast Asia. Another trading route in particular were the Straits of Malacca, which were trading waterways in Malaysia, linking regions in the west of Bay of Bengal, which also bordered on the South China Sea and further up the north. So Mukundaram Chakraborty in his ballad Chondi Mongol, he mentions vegetarian and non-vegetarian dishes. And one of the traditional dishes of Bengal he talks about is the pitha, a delicious snack made with rice flour, milk, jaggery, sesame and coconut, often dipped in sweet syrup such as date palm molasses. This was a general ceremonial food item at that time. One of the traditional treats made specially during the Khmer New Year or wedding celebration is noktam. This is almost like the pitha. So this, also known as the Cambodian sweet rice cake, is a steamed sweet dumpling filled with freshly grated coconut, toasted sesame seeds and palm sugar. So coconut in the folklore of Bengal and Southeast Asia. So in rural Bengal, there are many poems which are attributed to the fabled astrologer Khana from the Pal period called Khanar Bachon, embody traditional wisdom related to farming and food habits still influences the pattern of agrarian life. Some of these timeless sagacious sayings also reveal the practical know-how of coconut farming and the immense subsistence value of this farm. So there are few Khanar Bachon, like Khana bole shune jao, narkel mule chita dao, gach hoy taja mota, taratari dhare gota. So this actually refers how the recycled farmyard debris such as cow dung and rice should be applied to the base of the coconut tree to favor its growth and allow its early fruit setting. So I'll just skip because of time. There is another very important work, Sheila Boshak. She has done a field survey of the riddles from West Bengal and Bangladesh. So here she says there are few very interesting riddles from, this is from Odisha, Bangladesh. Age cham, pore lo, pore har, tarpor mangsho, sheshe rokto, kauto bostuta ki bastay, pore ba ashok, kara ba ashokto. This is from Odisha. It provides clues about the coconut using the human anatomy. First skin, then hair, then bone, then flesh and blood. What is it and who are fond of it? Obviously the coconut. This is another saying from Shirajganj, Allah ki kudrat, gache rage shorbo. This is from which describes the food value of the coconut water. So I'm just skipping. This is again a very important Indonesian folklore. This is called Hainuwele or coconut girl, where she is born out of coconut and later killed. And her parts of the body, from her parts, they were cut into different parts, and from different parts of her body a coconut tree emerged. So I will just conclude by saying that in the eco-cultural context, historical and geographical links between Bengal and Southeast Asia are profound. Plants including coconut, although rooted, are amazingly mobile and can cross political cultural boundaries, but they remain largely neglected by scholars. In 2024, ASEAN would complete 57 years, but these cultural contacts between India and ASEAN go further back in time to at least 2 millennia, and earlier Indian Ocean connections that developed before historical period have also been established. So it was in the 1990s when both sides started to further renew and strengthen their old ties, and we have Act East policy, Look East policy. So because of these trade relations in existence since ancient times, languages too have occupied a crucial place in the history of these two regions. So I will just end by this very important thing that the ancient Indians referred to Southeast Asia Suvarna Bhumi or land of gold in Sanskrit, referring to the riches encountered during trade voyages and also plant wealth. Other names derived from Sanskrit by which Southeast Asia was also known to Indians include Narkel Deep, or the island of coconuts. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. In fact, you were really on a very, very quick note. But thank you for giving us so much information on the food cultures, right? At the end of the day, I understood that you were from botany, and there was some
history, and my husband is from botany.
botany. So
Yeah,
it's a
so
blend,
I am
a blend of both disciplines. And we did find the applied aspects of this particular coconut palm. So I leave this particular session open for if anybody has questions to ask the speaker. Maybe everybody is hungry. It's time for food. The culinary journey. Yes.
Yes, sir.
So what is the earliest evidence for coconut in Bengal? Do you have any archaeological?
No, I haven't found as such. It's astrological.
Yeah, but we have in Pattanam, Kerala, we have in early first century BC.
First century BC.
We have a coconut shell from archaeological context, and also we have early Tamil literature. It talks about the toddy.
Toddy,
That is one of the main,
Right.
main liquor consumed by the people. So,
Thank you, sir, for
and
this
also
input.
it was offered in the worship.
Yes,
Because
worship.
we get a lot of inscription reference about coconut plantation, which is actually, this is one of the important objects we use for worship.
Ritual, yes.
Ritual.
Yeah.
Today,
Anywhere.
any temple, you go with the
Absolutely.
and also wedding and offering.
Maybe buying any new car, we always break the coconut or shares. Sometimes it's substituted for mango leaves also. Like we also use
Actually,
it as
they
a
put mango leaf,
And-
they have a vessel.
Yes.
They put
coconut,
and then
coconut, yes,
This is
yes.
there are sculptural representation
Oh.
also. Yeah, sculptural as well as painting.
Okay.
Okay.
But in Bengal, I have not tried to look further, but I'll try to
In
see.
early
Sure.
Tamil literature, it is
It's
there.
very much there.
And also they, for boat they don't use it. They use palm tree,
Okay.
not coconut palm. The other palm they
Yeah.
make gold, but they use it for different purposes. There's one more point. Actually, we have a coconut shell found in Bernike in Egypt, first century BC. So actually, we use the coconut shell for making a ladder. So they have found one piece with perforation in Egypt, Bernike. So that means they were, we make a ladder using that. So, yeah. Thank you.
Actually, what I wanted to add that this is the beauty of our culture here, or South Asian culture rather, that we have an immense role of nature and the landscape playing a part in our everyday lives. And we do not need to sit and specify that this is the exact role, but maybe while doing that we overlook the role of nature and like landscape in our everyday lives. That is how coconut is probably a part of such an everyday part of life that we never sat down to recognize its benefits. That is why we do not really go back and check that when did we exactly start loving coconut. Take it for granted.
All right, thank you. Just a small remark. I am just beginning to recollect my journey here. I've come from a place that doesn't grow coconut. And I'm trying to recollect in this particular genus of the botanical nut. For us, maybe coconut could have been replaced by the betel nut.
Absolutely.
The culture has come into that context.
It belongs to the same family.
Yes, yes. So in rituals and practice, that has been our vehicle, the transmission of that. But the seashore or the littoral, it has rich cultural heritage of the coconut. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I think that's all for this session, and thank you for all your patient hearing and the speakers. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. This is the time for refreshment. Please, I think they will arrange everything in at 8th floor, and our volunteers will serve you food. We will meet at the same place after 1 hour, I think, around 2:30 p.m. And please keep your coupon in your hand. Thank you.